In this lesson, we will learn how to create a new group policy in Active Directory. First, we will learn about the important configurations in a group policy and the best practices when configuring a group policy. After that, we will create a group policy to disable IP version 6. Then we will troubleshoot and verify our configuration. Finally, we sum up our lesson with the keynotes. A group policy must have a scope to filter which Active Directory objects will get the settings from the group policy. A scope has three filters. The first filter is location, which indicates an Active Directory level, such as site, domain, or OUs, where the GPO is linked to. A GPO can be linked to one or many locations. The second filter is security filtering, which allows to add groups, users, or computers. However, the GPO will apply the settings to only those existed in the location. And the last filter is WMI filtering, which uses the WMI filter to query objects listed in the security setting that exist in the location. The GPO applies to only objects returned by the WMI query. As you can see, each GPO can be linked to only one WMI filter. However, the same WMI filter can be used by multiple GPOs. So in this example, there's no WMI filter, and the group policy is applied to authenticated users in the domain hq.itlifeskills.local. So how a group policy object is applied to a user or a computer. As you may know, initially, the group policy is processed by the foreground process, and if it is a user policy, then the group policy is applied when a user logs on. And if it is a computer policy, then the policy is applied when the computer starts up, which happens before a user logs on. After that, the background process will refresh the policy every 90 minutes after the initial application. When you open a group policies, you will see that in the computer configuration, there are policy settings and preferences settings. Similarly, in the user configuration, there are policy setting and also preferences setting. So what are the differences between policies and preferences in a group policy? Here are the differences. In terms of enforcement, policies are strictly enforced and cannot be overridden by users. For some advanced users who can change the policy settings, their settings will be overridden by the policies after the policies are refreshed. Preferences, however, allow users to change the settings after preferences are applied. In terms of behavior, the settings applied by policy are usually grayed out, preventing modification. However, the settings applied by preferences look normal, which allow users to change. So what are the use cases for policies and preferences? Policies are used for security critical settings like password complexity or firewall rules. Preferences are used for settings that gives users options to change or adjust based on their needs, such as desktop shortcuts or map drives. Now we know that we should implement group policies whenever applicable. However, the policies impact the computer startup time and user log-on time. Therefore, Microsoft developed group policy best practices that we should follow to have the least impact on the destination computer. Here are the best practices. Create a group policy that enable either computer configuration or user configuration and disable the other to reduce processing time as the destination computer doesn't scan the disable configuration. As you may remember, we disabled the user configuration in the default domain policies in the previous lesson. Now, when the default domain policies is applied to the destination computer, they only need to scan the computer configuration, which reduces the processing time. If the same setting can be enabled at the computer configuration and user configuration, so enable it at computer configuration to reduce user logon time. As you can see in the policy setting in computer configuration, we have the software setting, Windows setting, and administrative templates. Similarly, in the user configuration, we also have the software setting, Windows setting, and administrative templates in the policy setting. So if we have a choice, we should enable the settings in the computer configuration because it only impacts the computer startup time, which reduce the user logon time. Enable all the settings that have the same scope in one GPO. This optimization reduces the number of GPOs that are applied to a user or computer. As you can see in the policies, we can enable many settings. If we create a group policy for each setting, we will have hundreds or even thousands of group policies. And when these group policies are applied to the same sets of computers, these computers have to process each group policy and pick up the settings that are applied to them. Now, if we put all the settings in one or two policies, then the destination computer just need to pick up the settings in those one or two group policies and apply to them, which makes the processing time much faster. Use policies to prevent users to change the settings and use preferences to allow users to change the settings. Name a group policy generic enough to cover all the settings that are enabled in the group policies. Let's analyze a problem on this client computer. First, let's open File Explorer and right-click on Network and click on Properties, then click on Ethernet and click on Properties. As you can see, the IP version 6 is enabled. Let's open Command Prompt, type in CMD and hit Enter. And now type in ipconfig. As you can see, the IP version 6 link local address is enabled on the Ethernet adapter of this computer. Now let's figure out the host name of this computer and ping it. So we ping win10 pc01 and hit enter. As you can see, because IP version 6 takes precedence over IP version 4, so it replies with IP version 6, which usually causes a lot of problem for the end user. We can go into each computer and disable IP version 6 manually. However, we can handle it with group policy. To find out the steps to disable IP version 6 using group policies, I just need to open Edge browser and type in disable IP version 6 group policies server 2019. And here are the steps to disable IP version 6 via group policies. As you may notice that it is the preferences, not the policies, and let's follow it. To create a new group policy, we need to open Group Policy Management. So in the search, we need to type in group and click on Group Policy Management. And in the group policy objects, we just need to right click and click New. And here we type in the name Domain Computer Policy and click OK. That's it. We have just created the new group policy domain computer policy. Now let's disable the user configuration for the GPO domain computer policy. To do that, we need to click on the policy and right click and click on GPO status and select user configuration settings disable. That's it. Now to enable the preference in the domain computer policies to disable IP version 6, we need to edit the policies, and then in the computer configuration, we click on preferences and click on Windows settings and click on registries, and here we click on new registry item. Now we change the action to create and we paste the key path from the instruction, and we set the default value to listable components, and we change the value type to rect dword, and we paste the value data from the instruction, which is 0xff, to disable the IP version 6 entirely. Then click on OK and click on Close. That's it. Now let's link the GPO domain computer policy to our location, which is the computers OU under the IT Life Skills OU. To do that, we need to click on the IT Life Skills OU and click on the computers OU and right click, then click on link an existing GPO and click on the GPO domain computer policy, then click on OK. That's it. Now let's change the security filtering for the GPO domain computer policy. To do that, we need to click on the policy, and this message telling us that anything that we change in the group policy will impact all the locations where the group policy is linked to. So just click OK. As you can see, currently the security filtering is assigned to authenticated users. Let's remove it and click on OK. And this message saying that removing the authenticated user will impact the user group policy. So we should be fine. Let's click OK. Now let's add the domain computers by typing in domain computers and click on check names, then click OK. That's it. How do we trigger the group policy update from the domain controller to the client computer? To do that, we first need to log on to the client computer as the administrator. So just type in the password and hit enter. Now in the search box, just type in CMD and right click on command prompt and click on run as administrator. Let's verify the host name. As you can see, we are on the Windows 10 computer. To trigger the updates from the domain controller to this client computer, we need to type in the command gp update /force, then hit enter. As you can see, the computer policy and the user policies are updated successfully on this Windows 10 computer. How do we verify which group policies are assigned to this client computer? To do that, we need to type in the command gp result /r and hit enter. And here are the group policies that are applied to this computer. And as you can see in the computer setting, the domain computer policy has not been applied to this computer. Here we are back at the Active Directory users and computers on CPVDC11. As you may remember, we linked the GPO domain computer policy to the computer OUs under IT Life Skills, and currently in the computer OUs there is no computer there. That is the reason why the group policy is not applied to the Windows 10 computer. Let's click on the computer's container and we see the Windows 10 computer is there. Now let's move it to the computer OUs under IT Life Skills OU. To do that, we need to right click on the computer and click on Move. And we select the computer OUs under IT Life Skills OU and click on OK. Now click on the computer OUs under IT Life Skill OUs and we see the Windows 10 PC01 is here. Everything looks good. Now we are back at the Windows 10 PC01 computer. Let's trigger the update by sending the command gp update /force. Now let's send the command gp result /r and scroll up. As you can see in the computer settings, the GPO domain computer policy has been applied to this client computer. To make sure the group policy setting takes effect on the client computer, meaning it disables the IP version 6 on this computer, I have to reboot the PC. Now let's verify the registry setting by typing regedit and click on registry editor. As you can see in the parameter, we see the disable components. Let's open it and we see the value data set to FF. Everything looks good. Click OK and click on close. Now let's open command prompt and we type in ipconfig. As you can see, the IP version 6 is not present on the Ethernet adapter of this computer. Let's ping the computer name, ping win10 PC01, and now it's reply with the IP version 4. Everything looks good. This is the end of this lesson. Let's read the keynotes